Welcome, my dear listeners. Stay with me to get the news first and subscribe to the channel. Let's find out what's going to happen on Royal Family. Carol Middleton thought this royal moment was perfect. You would never have guessed she was nervous. A royal historian praised her discreet entrance at the wedding of the Prince and Princess of Wales. When the Prince and Princess of Wales romance was confirmed, the Middleton family became famous, but their wedding in April 2011 made things even more famous. Michael and Carol were suddenly the parents of the future queen. Millions of people watched Kate and William say "I do" in the grand setting of Westminster Abbey. Carol came in alone and her husband walked down the aisle with Kate. It was a big deal. Royal historian Hugo Vickers praised her entrance, saying, "On the day Carol Middleton, the bride's mother, got out of the car, waved to the press and went right in." In his new biography, Queen Elizabeth II, he said she judged that to perfection, and then he suggested that Carol had been nervous even though she seemed calm. She told the Dean of Westminster that she had often heard that when you are really nervous, your knees knock together. Hugo remembered she didn't know it really happened. There were so many people waiting outside the abbey that it would have been scary for anyone to arrive alone, especially the mother of the bride. Hugo said that Carol's small wave to the crowd was the best thing she could have done. She thanked the crowd and said that the wedding was both a family and a national event, but she didn't make a big deal out of it or draw too much attention to herself. This was also important to the mother of three when they were planning the wedding. The Princess of Wales' mother said in an interview in 2018 that she was involved lots with both Kate and Pippa's weddings. They talked about music, everything, and it was important to pay attention to what they really wanted. Carol went on, "As a parent, I think the most important thing is to hear what your daughter wants. You can have all the ideas you want, but they have to be about them, and don't try to get on the guest list." Kate and William probably really liked this because the guest list for their wedding was already pretty long. More than 1,000 people came, which could have made Carol a little nervous. Like every mother, I wanted to look my best, make my kids proud, and have a good time. I really don't think I was any more stressed than any other mother of the bride, she said. The wedding of the Prince and Princess of Wales was very modern for a royal wedding. X, formerly Twitter, shared information, and Kate is said to have surprised courtiers when she chose to drive instead of taking the horse-drawn glass coach. Russell Myers wrote in his book William and Catherine that she was of the view that she was not yet a princess who would use such a mode of transport. Instead, she and Michael drove up in a black 1977 Rolls-Royce Phantom 6 that the company gave to Queen Elizabeth as a gift for her silver jubilee. Prince William makes his move, but the Laura Lopes story is quieter than the rumor mill says it is. It sounds like there is a war going on in the palace. Prince William makes a big move, the palace goes crazy, and Laura Lopes somehow becomes the center of a royal crisis. The news I read doesn't back up that kind of fight. What it does show is a much quieter, more revealing picture. Laura Lopes is still living the low-profile life she has long preferred. Queen Camilla has continued to appear with her daughter at select public outings, and the senior royals including William and Princess Anne have kept showing up together at major family events. That's a very different story from being kicked out of the public eye or having a fight in the palace. Laura Lopes has always been one of the most private people around the royal family. She is a Camilla's daughter from her first marriage, and she works as an art curator. She doesn't usually take part in official royal life. People's recent profile of her says exactly that. She rarely attends public events with the royal family, but she is close enough to Camilla to be seen with her at carefully chosen times. That background is important because it's very easy to turn a woman with a private life into a rumor magnet. In December 2025, Camilla and Laura went to set of rivals together, which was one of the most obvious times. People said the Queen and her daughter went out together, met the cast, had tea and cake, and celebrated the show and the life of the late Dame Jilly Cooper. Laura stayed out of the spotlight, which is exactly what made her presence so noticeable. She doesn't usually step into the public royal spotlight. That is not how someone acts when they are being pushed out. It is the behavior of someone who decides when to arrive. The Christmas angle also goes against the more serious rumors. In December 2025, Tyler said that Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes would not be spending Christmas with King Charles and Queen Camilla. Tom said he would be with his ex-wife and kids. The piece made it sound like this was a decision about family schedules, not a punishment or exile, so Laura's absence from one royal gathering was framed as a personal choice, not as a palace crackdown. The difference is the whole story. Then came Easter, and the family picture became even clearer. According to Reuters, King Charles, Queen Camilla, Princess Anne, Prince William, Princess Catherine and their kids all went to the Easter Matins service at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. Town and County said the same thing. Charles, Camilla, Anne and other royals all arrived together, and the event went on as usual instead of with tension. If there was an explosive move against Laura from within, Easter was not the time for it to show up in public. The public stage showed that people were together, not apart. That is the most important thing to remember. The senior royals are still showing up together in the places where the institution wants to be seen as stable and organized. Reuters said that the Easter service was a traditional event with Anne and the Wales family there, along with Charles and Camilla. Town and County said that Prince Edward and Sir Tim Lawrence walked with Anne, but the event was just another day at work for the royal family. That is not what happens when a palace erupts. The monarchy is showing that the core working family is still working in public. So, what does William have to do with all of this? Not as the person who caused Laura Lopes to be exiled. The verified reports show him with Kate and their kids at Easter standing with the king and queen in a very public family setting. The truth is that William is becoming more and more like the future king in public. This means that the royal center of gravity is now around the working family, not around private relatives like Laura. That is a change in structure, not a personal attack. It's easy to see where Laura fits into that structure. She's family. But she is not a working royal. According to her profile, she is Camilla's younger child, married Harry Lopes in 2006 and has 3 children of her own. Eliza, her daughter, was a bridesmaid at William and Kate's wedding. Her twin sons were pages of honor at Camilla's 2023 coronation. That history makes the idea of being banished from the palace even harder to understand. Laura is not new to royal events. She is part of the larger blended family that still comes to the big events. These rumors probably spread so quickly because of the blended family situation. Camilla is the link between Laura and William and Harry, but Laura has been almost invisible compared to the rest of the royal family for a long time. Nikki Swift has said before that her role is like that of a secret sister, a person who is related to the brothers but does not act like a public royal. It's easy for a tabloid style story to say that a private relative who doesn't show up often has been removed, rejected or punished. The facts are much less exciting. Camilla's own public role also helps explain why the rumor doesn't make sense. People's coverage of the rival set visit showed her relaxed and clearly having fun with Laura and the cast. She still goes to official events with Charles. She was also at the Easter service with Charles, and Reuters said that the royal couple talked to people afterward. That picture doesn't show a family that is openly fighting over Laura's decision. It shows a queen doing her public duties while also having a private life with her family. The rumor is even less believable. Now that Princess Anne is there, people say that Anne is very practical and duty bound, but the public record shows that she walked with the senior royals at Easter instead of arguing with Camilla about a family member's status. Town and country's Easter photo spread showed Anne arriving with Charles, Camilla and other royals. Reuters also put her in the main group at the service. You would think that at least one credible report would say that there was a public refusal to bow or a visible fight over Laura. There isn't one. So the real story is about limits, not exile. It looks like Laura Lopes preferred to stay out of the public eye most of the time, only going out with Camilla on rare occasions. That is valuable in and of itself. It lets her stay a part of the family without becoming a public institution. This is in line with her choice to keep Christmas and other events low-key. That pattern holds true for her trip to rivals with Camilla. Even the big family events where she was there fit that pattern. The reports don't say anything about the palace being upset about her place in the family. The current royal coverage, if anything, suggests the opposite. The family is making it clearer that there is a difference between the working monarchy and the private relatives who come and go from the spotlight as they please. In that sense, William's move is not a strike against Laura Lopes. The monarchy's public face is still centered on the King, Queen, Prince and Princess of Wales, Princess Anne and the other active royals who show up at big events. Laura is still a member of the family but not of the public machinery. That difference is important because royal rumors often mix private life with public life. A daughter who skips a holiday or stays quiet at an official event becomes a character in a palace drama in the world of rumors. But the proof here is much more normal and believable. Laura Lopes is a private person. Camilla is there for you. William is focused on becoming king. Anne is still doing her public duty without any nonsense. For now, the family looks more like a monarchy keeping its borders in check than a court in open revolt. So, to sum up, there is no credible report of Prince William doing something big against Laura Lopes, and there is no verified palace eruption over the decision Laura made. What the reports show is a woman who likes her privacy, a queen who sometimes lets her daughter be seen in public, and a royal family that still gathers at big events with the senior working royals in the front. The rumor makes for a louder headline, but the real story is quieter, steadier, and much more in the line with how this family really works. And this is where the story becomes quietly powerful, because the most meaningful royal moments aren't the loud ones. They're the ones that almost slip by unnoticed. Because when Carol Middleton stepped out of that day, calm on the outside but nervous underneath, she showed something very real, something human in the middle of all that royal perfection. And honestly, that's what makes it unforgettable. Not the scale, not the crowd, but the control, the grace, the choice to stay small in a moment that could have overwhelmed anyone. In my opinion, that single walk says more about strength than any grand royal gesture ever could, because it wasn't about attention, it was about support. And that same quiet strength still echoes today in how the royal family balances public duty with private life, especially with figures like Laura Lopes choosing when to step in and when to stay out. Because what if the real story isn't about being pushed aside, but about choosing your place on your own terms? And what does that say about the future, when even the next generation led by Prince William seems focused on structure over spectacle? Could this be a sign that the monarchy is quietly changing, becoming more controlled, more intentional, and maybe even more distant? Or is this balance exactly what gives it strong? A mix of public duty and private boundaries. So now I'm curious, do you think moments like Carol's perfect entrance matter more than the big royal headlines we usually hear about? And do you prefer seeing the royal family as polished public figures or as real people with nourished doubts and quiet strength behind the scenes? Because sometimes the most powerful moments are the ones that almost go unnoticed.